Hi, welcome to Soul TV. My name is Ian, and today we're going to be doing a part of a Yoga for Cyclists series. The class today is going to be more of the restorative class, kind of something you might do after a full weekend of really hard training or racing or something along those lines. So we'll be doing some stretching out, some recovery work, and all around just putting your body back to a good place to be ready for another full week of hard training and racing. So to start, just with some breath, come into a comfortable seat. You can be cross-legged, hands can rest on your knees or in your lap with one palm on top of the other. And close your eyes and just begin to observe your breath. Watching the inhale and the exhale as they flow in and out through your nose. And as soon as you start watching the breath, there's this immediate tendency to try to change it and control it, attach to it. So instead, just try to observe it really passively, just watching the breath happen, checking in and becoming aware of a natural rhythm that occurs there. Maybe the inhale and the exhale are different lengths. Notice if there's any consistency or if it's completely erratic. Whatever it is, just observe the natural flow of your breath. And now begin to lengthen the breath and deepening, beginning with a long exhale. Completely hollowing out your belly, creating space for a big new inhale, filling from the bottoms of your lungs all the way to the top. Kind of like you're filling a glass of water. And when you get to the top, just take a short pause and let the exhale slide naturally right out. Use the next few cycles of breath to gradually deepen and continue lengthening your breath. And actually count the duration of both the inhale and the exhale. Maybe the inhale is a count of 5, and if that's the case, let the exhale be a count of 7. Letting the exhale be longer than the inhale actually enhances the restorative nature of the practice. Because the exhale is kind of the restorative, healing part of the breath. So just continue slowing your breath down until you find a nice, comfortable rhythm that's deep and full, but completely sustainable. And let's take several more breaths, locking in that rhythm. And completely tuning in with the body and with the breath, allowing yourself to show up for this practice. Letting go of whatever it was that was going on before this, not worrying about what's going to happen after. Really just being here, completely here, present for the class, for whatever the experience is going to be. Without expectations of what it's going to be or how you're going to perform. Just really show up for an experience. Now keeping your breath steady, with the next inhale, let your tailbone root down, lengthen through the crown of your head. And with the exhale, keep the length, but soften your shoulders back and down, finding ease in the posture. Again, with the inhale, root through the tailbone and grow tall through the crown of the head, lengthening the spine. Exhale again, soften the shoulders, soften the hips, melting into the posture, but keeping the length. Take a couple more breaths just like this, softening your seats. Building that connection between your breath and your posture. Giving yourself the mental and emotional space to be here for a practice. With the next inhale, you can open your eyes And reach your fingers up to the sky. Take your gaze up, and then interlace your fingers and press your palms up. You can even get some movement. Wiggle your spine around, move the arms around. Just kind of start waking the body up. Just kind of move organically, however it feels natural. And then come back to the center, find some stillness. You take your gaze up and softly slide your shoulders down away from your ears, but keep pressing your palms up. And if your lower ribs started poking out, slide them back in, keeping that length in your spine. Take another inhale, and then as you exhale, free the hands, take a twist to your right. Left hand can land on the right knee, right hand behind the low back. With the inhale, really lengthen your spine, and then as you exhale, soften into your twist. And you try to keep the crown of your head lifting up directly above the point of your tailbone. Inhale one more and exhale in. And with the next inhale, come back up through the center, reach your fingers to the sky. And exhale, twist to the other side. Right hand to the left knee, left hand behind the low back on the floor. Inhale to lengthen, and as you exhale, soften into the twist. And one more big inhale. Exhale, soften in. And then inhale, come back up, reach your fingers to the sky. And as you exhale, reach forward. You're going to roll out into all fours, stacking your hips right on top of your knees and your shoulders right on top of your wrists. And just pause here for a moment and check back in if starting to move already made you lose track of your breath. So reconnect with that steady flow. Feel some grounding through your hands, through your knees, and the tops of your feet, creating a steady base. And with the next inhale, lower your belly as your gaze and tailbone tip up, drawing yourself into cow. As you exhale, draw your navel to your spine, rounding your back, tucking the tailbone and chin, pressing into cat. And the inhale, draw you into cow one more time. Your tailbone and gaze tip up. And exhale, press back into cat. And just begin moving with your breath, using the entire inhale to draw yourself into cow. And then pause at the edge, and then the entire exhale to press into cat. So it's really not a race to get from one posture to the next. You want to use the entire inhale and the entire exhale to move between the two, taking your time to feel all of the points, all of the postures in between the postures. And each time you find the edge, maybe you push the edge a little further, getting a little deeper. And press one more time into cat. And then take your seat all the way back to your heels into child's pose. Slide your knees together. Really reach your fingers forward, keeping your palms active on the mat. Then walk your hands over to the right side, getting a bit of a side stretch. You reach through your left fingertips, but keep your seat working down towards your heels. Take an inhale and feel it expand your left side body. And then walk your hands right back through the center and off to the left. And reach through your right fingertips. As you inhale, expanding the side. Exhale, softening your hips down. Inhale, walk the hands back into the center. And tuck your toes and press your seat into the sky, hips lifting, coming into a downward facing dog. So as a first downward dog, so keep your knees bendy. You can even take a moment and pedal your knees out, bending one and then the other, and really exaggerate the movement of the hips from side to side. Continue getting into your side body, even the outsides of the hips. You just move around and see how it feels. Press your hands firmly into the floor. Your knees can be bendy as the hips lift. Let your heart soften back towards your knees. And take 3 full breaths. Then take your gaze between your hands and just slowly walk your feet up to meet your hands, coming into a forward fold. The first Uttanasana. You can let your head soften, relax your neck, maybe even shake your head out yes and no. Let your arms hang.
Put a deep bend in your knees and slowly inhale, roll up to stand one vertebrae at a time. Head comes up last and the arms will float up to an upward salute. Exhale, take your hands to your heart. With the inhale, reach it to the sky. Take your gaze up for a gentle back bend. As you exhale, again, just bring your hands to the heart center. And check in for a moment in Tadasana. Big toes are together, a little space between the heels. Let the hands rest at the heart or by the sides. So just check in with your body and kind of see how it's feeling, see what's going on with it, particularly in your quads and in your hips, your low back and shoulders. These are the areas that get the most tension and the most use from a lot of cycling. So check in with your balance between your heels and your toes, maybe gently rock back and forth. Try to get equal weight between heels and toes. Move up into your knees and your quads, see if you're locking anything out. Just try to soften. And also just notice the sensations. Maybe you feel really tired or really sore, really stiff. Whatever it is, just notice it without having to judge it or give it a name. Also see how much you can soften and release. We do a lot of work and hold tension in all of these places. So just try to let go. Let your body have the opportunity to restore. Move up through the low back, the shoulders. Let the shoulders soften back and down. A gentle tuck of the chin. And come back to the breath as we begin to flow, trying to connect the body, the movements, and the breath. Inhale, reach your arms to the sky. Again, a gentle back bend as your gaze tips up. And then exhale, take your hands through the center line, forward fold. The inhale, come up halfway lift, lengthen your spine. Shoulder blades drop back towards your hips. And then exhale, fold in. With the inhale, the right leg's gonna step back. Just lower the right knee to the floor and bring the hands to the left knee. So these back toes can be tucked or untucked, depending on your knee comfort, totally personal preference. Just bring the hands to the left thigh. And with the exhale, let the hips lower down towards the floor, getting really deeply into these right hip flexors. But you want to keep lifting and lengthening the sides, so you're actually lengthening out of your low back, but the hips soften down. And keep this left knee right on top of the left ankle or a little bit behind. Take a couple of breaths to soften into this. So with each inhale, lift the heart, opening across the collarbone, and the exhale, soften the hips down. Next, exhale, hands to the floor, tuck your back toes, and step it right back to a three-legged dog, left heel to the sky. Try to keep your hips square down to the floor as you press through that left heel. The right knee might be a little bit bent. And then bring the left foot down to meet the right. As you inhale, shift forward into a plank. So your shoulders stack right on top of your wrists. Might be a little adjustment in your feet. You're going to build a little heat as you keep your quads, your core, all fired up. Gaze slightly in front of your fingertips. Try to keep a long line from your heels through the crown of your head. One more inhale. And on a slow exhale, lower yourself all the way to your belly, using your knees if you'd like. With an inhale, roll your chest and shoulders up off of the mats, coming into a cobra, bhujangasana. But keep reaching the crown of the head forward, so you got this length in the back of your neck, rather than craning like this. Really lengthen, reaching forward. Inhale up. Exhale, lower it down. Slide your hands back a little bit. With the next inhale, press up to another cobra. Again, pressing the tops of the feet into the floor, reaching the crown of the head forward. Exhale, lower it down. Press your seat to your heels in child's pose just for a breath. And then tuck the toes. Find a downward facing dog. And step your feet together with the inhale, right leg up to the sky. Exhale, walk or step your right foot forward. Lower the left knee. Come right up into Anjaneyasana. Again, just with the hands on the knee. With the inhale, broad across the collarbone. Exhale, soften the hips down. But keep lifting through the heart. Let your shoulders roll back, opening the chest. Keep your breath steady and deep. If you've lost that rhythm, check back in with it now. More inhale. Exhale, hands to the floor. Step your left foot to meet your right, forward fold. Inhale, come up, halfway lift. Lengthen the spine as you exhale, fold it in. Bend the knees as you press the feet to the floor. Inhale all the way to stand. Come to an upward salute. Exhale, hands to the heart. Inhale, reach to the sky. As you exhale, arms to the side, a slow swan dive all the way in. Inhale to a halfway lift, fingers to the shins. Exhale and fold. It's time to step the left leg back. Lower that knee and come right back to Anjaneyasana. Hands can be at the side or reach up to the sky. Again, lift the heart with the inhale. As you exhale, let your shoulders melt away from your ears and your hips continue to the floor. If it's feeling crunchy on your low back, you need to lift more and maybe even back out a little bit. Your palms face one another, reaching actively through your fingertips. One more inhale. Exhale, hands to the floor, step it back. Three-legged dog, right leg to the sky. We just press up and back through that heel, trying to keep your hips and shoulders square to the floor. Then exhale, right foot meets the left. Inhale, shift forward to a plank, just for a short pause. And then exhale all the way to the floor. Slide your hands back towards your low ribs as you inhale. Press up to a higher cobra. So your front hip points are still on the floor. The gaze is down and a little forward. Roll your shoulders back as you open your chest. Exhale, lower it down. One more time, inhale, peel it up. Try to soften your seat as the tops of your feet press to the floor. And one more inhale, exhale, lower it down. Let one ear rest on the mat. And give your hips a little rock from side to side, releasing your low back. Bring your hands back under your shoulders, press your hips to your heels. And then inhale, exhale, downward dog. Step your feet together. Left leg up to the sky. With the exhale, bend your knee. Walk or step your foot forward. Right knee to the floor. Again, hands can be at the side or up to the sky. Lowering the hips with the exhale. Lifting the heart. One more big inhale. You exhale, hands to the floor. Tuck your back toes and step it forward. Uttanasana, forward fold. Let your head hang out heavy, maybe hands to opposite elbows. Fold in. Put bending your knees, you inhale, come all the way to stand, upward salute. Exhale, hands right to the center. Inhale, reach it to the sky. You exhale right through the center line, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Really reach the crown of your head forward and your tailbone back. And keep that length as you exhale, fold forward. Nose towards the toes. Then bend your knees and step the right leg back, coming to a low lunge. With the inhale, lower your hips and open your heart forward. And then exhale, shift back, bowing over the front leg. Just move with the breath a few times here, inhaling forward. We let the hips lower, opening your heart forward. Exhale, shift it back. Take this about 2 more times. Inhale forward. Just taking your time to flow with the breath. Exhale back. This time we'll pause as we're bowing over that front leg. Press your right hip forward and draw your left hip back. Try to keep length in your spine, so you may be on fingertips, maybe folding in a little. Really want to keep your hips square as that right one works forward. Now bend that front knee. Inhale, come right up to a high lunge. Again, palms face reaching through the fingertips. And with the exhale, right heel to the floor, open it out, warrior 2. So you really want to get your hips and your shoulders squaring out to the side. Your arms are parallel to the floor and gazes out soft over your front fingertips. Try to keep this deep bend in the front knee, working the hips open. Come back into your breath and grounds down through both feet, pressing through the outside of the right foot and equally through the inside and outside of the left foot. Keeping the legs the same. Inhale, tip it back, peaceful warrior. Left fingers to the sky. And then exhale, take it to a side angle. Just elbow to knee, right fingers up. And the body likes to collapse down on this one. So try to keep your right hip and ribs spinning up and open to the sky so it's an expansive posture. Reach your right fingers up, but slide your shoulder blade down towards your spine. One more inhale here, and then as you exhale, take both hands to the floor and walk them around to the side of your mat. Parallel your feet into a prasarita. So reach forward through the crown of your head, again, just at this halfway lift. Torso about parallel to the floor. And then exhale, bend the elbows, folding in, keep the length in your spine. Inhale, come back up, halfway lift, lengthen out. Keep the legs active, but a little tiny bend in the knees. Exhale, fold it back in. Inhale, come back up, halfway lift. Walk your hands back around towards your left leg, but step your left leg out towards the side of the mat so your hands are on the inside of your foot. And keep it a little active so your left knee is snuggling into your shoulder and your right leg is straight, keeping your hips lifted. Gazes forward as you stay broad across your collarbone, sliding your shoulder blades towards your hips. And now you're going to point your left toes out to the left and come to the outside edge of your right foot. So you'll spin that heel down, and then the left toes out. Left hand can come up to the left knee, allowing your hips to come all the way towards the floor, or you can keep them lifted. Just kind of play with this wherever you want it to see how much you can get into the IT band. You might feel it a lot on the left hip, or it might be a lot on the right hip. Just kind of play with this for a couple of breaths. And then come back up, pointing both toes forward, both hands to the floor. You might scoot that left foot a little bit further. Toes might point out. You might stay here. The right knee can lower if you'd like. Just kind of lower down, maybe to forearms. Left knee might splay out to the side. Just kind of relax into this. Breathing into that hip, letting it open and soften. But again, try to keep your gaze a little bit forward so you're still expansive across your chest. And climb back up to your hands. If you're down, lift that back leg. Walk your left foot in between your hands, coming back to the low lunge. And then step the left foot back and up to the sky, three-legged dog. Let your left foot come down and meet the right. And inhale, come forward into a plank. And then exhale all the way to the floor. You're going to slide your elbows underneath your shoulders. So you got this joint alignment right here. Forearms are reaching directly forward. Put a little space between your feet. Meet into Sphinx. So you get this traction with your arms working on the mat, reaching back towards your hips. They don't really go anywhere, but you got this traction, so you roll your shoulders open, working your heart forward. And if this gets kind of, again, crunchy on your low back, put a little more space between your feet and keep working your heart forward, lengthening out of your low back. You're going to point your left fingertips over towards your right elbow. Bend your right knee and reach back to grab either the top of the foot or the ankle. Get your shoulders square towards the front of the mat. And with an exhale, gently draw your heel in towards your seat, just till you find the point of resistance. And take a breath there. And with the next exhale, maybe the foot comes in a little closer. And take a few breaths to slowly work the heel in towards the seat. But try to keep the toes a little active. What we want to avoid is the foot coming out to the side and sickling. You really want to keep it active and lined up. And if the heel comes all the way to the seat, you might work it down and out to the side of the hip. But move slowly with your breath. And then gently release that leg back. Come back to your Sphinx. Reset for a moment. Again, just sliding your shoulders back, heart forward. And your gaze is directly forward, again, keeping your neck long. Good, take your hands back to the floor. With an exhale, hips to your heels, come into child's pose for 3 breaths. Next inhale is going to bring you forward to all fours. Exhale, downward facing dog. And step your feet together. With the inhale, right leg up to the sky. Exhale, bend the knee and step the foot forward between the hands. Now step the left foot a little forward. Bring the heel to the floor. Foot's at a bit of an angle. Inhale, come up to a warrior 1. Bend in the right knee. So your hips and shoulders are working square towards the front of your mat. Your left foot is firm on the floor. You're going to let your palms face and lift your heart. As you exhale, take your hands behind your low back. Interlace your fingers and draw your knuckles down the back leg. Rolling your shoulders back, opening your chest. And as you exhale, fold forward to devotional warrior. Right shoulder towards your knee or down inside. And just relax your neck, let your head hang heavy. More inhale. Exhale, hands to the floor. Step it forward, Uttanasana, forward fold. With the inhale, come all the way up to stand. Upward salute, arms overhead. Exhale, hands right into the heart. And close your eyes and just check in with your Tadasana. Big toes together, a little space between the heels. So the outsides of your feet are pretty much parallel, and there's just this little gap. Check back in with your breath and with your body. See if it's any different now that you've been moving. You can open your eyes, inhale, reach your arms up to the sky. You exhale, hands right through the center line, forward fold. Inhale, come up, halfway lift. Exhale, fold it in. Step the left leg back, coming into this low lunge. Just going to start moving with the breath again. So with the inhale, lower the hips. Roll your shoulders open as you point your heart towards the front of the room. Exhale, shift your hips back, bowing over that front leg. As you inhale, bend the knee, shift forward. Lower the hips, open the heart. And then exhale, just flow it back. You can just move with your breath without really pausing at either edge. Just be fluid. But each time you get to the edge, maybe you go a little bit deeper, keeping the breath long and steady. Next time you get back, bow over the front leg and linger for a few breaths. But press that left hip forward and right hip back. Keep length in the spine. And maybe you're on the fingertips. Trying to keep the hips square, softening into those right hamstrings. Good. Inhale, bend that front knee, come forward, and right up into a high lunge, reaching through your fingertips. With the exhale, soften your shoulders down, but keep your heart lifted. And then one more inhale. With the exhale, open it out, warrior two. Again, deep bend in the front knee, stacked on top of the ankle. Hips and shoulders are open to the side. Arms parallel to the floor. Gaze is soft over the front fingers. And shoulders are stacked right on top of hips. So this is really great posture, and sometimes we get too excited about it. We're like trying to go somewhere, and we're like really jacked. So bring it back, stacked right in the center, right where you are. Check in with the right knee, it likes to buckle in. So open the hips, draw the knee out, stacked right on top of the foot. Keeping the legs the same, inhale, tip it back, right fingers to the sky, left fingers to your left leg. Another inhale to open your right side body. Exhale to side angle, right elbow to right knee, left fingers to the sky. Again, check in to make sure you're not collapsing, and really work it open as much as you can, spinning your heart up towards the sky, reaching those left fingers up. One more big inhale here. As you exhale, both hands down to the floor. Walk your hands around to the side of your mat, coming back to a prasarita. Lengthen your spine, reaching the crown of your head forward, bring your hands to your hips. And a little bit of core work, keep your core engaged and legs are active. Really reach forward. And a little bend in your knees, you inhale, come all the way up, reach your arms overhead. As you exhale, interlace your fingers behind the low back. Press the knuckles down as you open your heart. And exhale, fold forward, working your hands over your head. You can stay with your arms up here or release them down to the low back or the floor. Maybe walk them out towards the top of the feet or behind the heels. Wherever you are, bring the hands to the floor right underneath the shoulders, back to this halfway lift. We're going to point the heels in and the toes out. I'm going to flow through some Skandasthana. So try to keep your head, your shoulders, and your hips all at the same level. And your head is going to be constantly reaching out directly away from your mat, away from your tailbone. So put a deep bend in your left knee and shift your weight to that side. But remember, the head is working directly forward. You're not coming over to the leg. You're staying perpendicular to your mat. Now walk your hands under your shoulders as you stay low through the center and go to the other side. Again, head, shoulders, and seat all at the same level. And now move with the breath as you inhale through the center. Exhale to the other side. Maybe gaze over the extended leg. Inhale through the center. Exhale to the other side. And just begin to flow with your breath. Inhale, center. Exhale to the side. Hands may come out to ankles as you flow. Come back to the right side one last time. Bring your hands back to the floor. Walk your hands around to the right foot. Step the right foot out to the side of the mat, coming into a lizard. You can try to keep it a little active for now, with the right knee snuggling into the shoulder. Left leg strong with the heel pressing back. Gaze a little forward to keep your shoulders and chest open. Again, point the right toes out. Come to the outside edge of that left foot. And maybe the right hand comes up to the right knee. Lowering your hips towards the floor, or even lifting them. Really just kind of play with this and see where you feel it. And it might be this whole IT band of the right leg, or it might be something in the left hip. And take a few breaths and play. Maybe both hands are still on the floor. Or it might be a little twist. The next inhale, come back up, both toes towards the front. Just come right back to the lizard. And now it might be a little more loungy with the back knee coming to the floor. Toes can split out to the sides, knee maybe works a little outwards. Maybe come to the forearms. And let's take a few breaths here, softening into the hips. And stay steady with the inhale and the exhale. The exhale being a little bit longer than the inhale. And then if you're on your forearms, climb back up to hands. Step the foot between your hands. The inhale, step it back. Three-legged dog, right heel to the sky. And bring your right foot to meet the left. And shift yourself forward to a plank. And then exhale, lower yourself to your belly. Again, elbows right underneath your shoulders, coming into Sphinx. A little space between your feet. Roll your shoulders back and your chest open. And steady with the breath. And point your right fingers towards your left elbow. And reach back as you bend that left knee. If you grab the top of the foot or the ankle, square the shoulders towards the front of the room. And gently draw your heel in, just till you find that resistance. And pause there for a couple of breaths. And then with the exhale, gently draw the heel in further, little bits at a time, till you find the edge and pause. And then see if with the exhale, you can let go of some of that resistance. You make sure the toes are flexed, foot is active and not flying to the side, but is actually lined up with toes pointing to the ceiling. And then gently release that foot back. Come back to a Sphinx to recenter. And lower down, take the hands underneath the shoulders. Press it back to child's just for a moment on the exhale. Inhale is downward dog. Step the feet together with the inhale, left leg to the sky. Exhale, bend the knee and step your foot forward between the hands. Right heel to the ground. Inhale, come up, warrior one. Palms face. Again, hips and shoulders are working towards the front. Gaze might tip up. And inhale, as you exhale, interlace the hands behind the low back. Draw the knuckles down the legs, you open the chest. And exhale, bow forward. Left shoulder towards the left knee. Really release the neck. Let the head hang down. Another inhale. Exhale, hands to the floor. Step the right foot to meet the left, forward fold. Maybe pedal the legs out a little here, moving the hips from side to side. Put a bend in the knees as you inhale. Come up to stand, arms overhead. Exhale, hands back to the heart. And check back in, just to notice, now that we've been moving, if something has changed. Start again with the soles of the feet. Move up through the body. It's not important if anything has changed. What is important is that you begin to pay attention, tune in, and allow your body to communicate with you. Move up into the hips and the low back, the shoulders, even out in the wrists and the hands. Soften your face. Inhale, reach your arms up to the sky. As you exhale, hands right through the center line, forward fold. Step the left leg back, moving down to a low lunge. The left hand's going to come to the floor, and right hand's going to open up, taking this open twist. So gently draw the right knee in towards the center line. It likes to fly out to the side, but keep it stacked on the ankle. So left hip draws forward, right hip back. Gaze might come up towards his fingertips. And with the inhale, come all the way up to a high lunge. Exhale, open it out, warrior two. Check in with the warrior just for a moment. Get your stance. Then inhale, tip it back, straightening the front leg into a reverse triangle. Reach up through your right fingertips, but slide your right shoulder down. And with the next exhale, take it forward into Trikonasana, triangle. Fingers to shin, maybe ankle, or all the way to the floor. And again, check in with this whole left side. So rather than collapsing just to find the floor, you really want to stay open and expansive, even if that means lifting your fingers to your shins. And then take the left fingers to the sky. And breathe. Bend the right knee, come deeply into an extended side angle. Left fingers continue reaching up or out over your ear. And inhale, take it all the way back to warrior two. Inhale to a high lunge. Exhale, hands to floor. Uttanasana, forward fold. Bending your knees as you inhale, come all the way to stand. Upward salute. Hands to the heart. Inhale again to the sky, gentle back bend. As you exhale, take it forward. Uttanasana. Inhale, the right leg's going to step back, coming to the low lunge. Right hand to the floor. Left arm opens to the sky. open twist. Again, check in with this left knee to keep it drawing gently inward to the center line. Let the left arm open up. Maybe the gaze follows. The next inhale is going to bring you all the way up to a high lunge. Exhale, open it out, warrior two. You can find your stance, base through your feet, be strong. Inhale, tip it back as you straighten the front leg, reverse triangle. As you exhale, come out to Trikonasana. Keeping your spine long. Gaze maybe comes up to the fingertips, or it can be straight out or down. Really want to focus on lengthening both sides. So your right hip draws down as you press your right foot into the floor and reach the crown of your head forward towards the front of the room. Now put a deep bend in that front knee, coming to an extended side angle. Spinning your heart towards the sky. Inhale back up to warrior two. And exhale, hands to the floor. Step it forward into Uttanasana, forward fold. So you're going to step your feet out about mat width apart, so a little wider than your hips. Point your heels in a little and your toes slightly out. Bend your knees and come down into a little squat. Hands at the heart. And so you want to have your heels on the floor. And if they don't get there, it can help to separate your feet a little more. Or you can come to stand on the edge of your mat or roll your mat up a little bit to give your heels a little more support. Bring your elbows into the insides of your knees to help open your hips a little. Keep your spine long. Tailbone roots down, but lengthen through the crown of your head. This is a really good one to open your hips and even release the low back, which is really essential after a lot of super long rides. Your low back can get pretty tense. Take another breath. And then lower your seat to the floor. Slide your legs together. Let your knees fall out to the side. Soles of your feet together. Commonly known as butterfly stretch. For a lot of athletes, this is Baddha Konasana or bound angle pose. So you're going to get some length in your spine. And as you exhale, lead with your heart, reaching your heart forward, keeping your spine long. So you gently draw yourself forward. You can use the elbows on the insides of the shins to gently press down. But again, you really don't want to wrench yourself into this. Use the breath to exhale and soften in. Inhale, come back up. You're going to cross your legs. We'll start with the right on top. And you're going to try to stack your knees, drawing both heels back towards your hips. And it might not get all the way stacked, especially for a lot of cyclists with giant muscly thighs. You don't get too far with this, but the whole idea is just work on it. Into Gomukhasana or cow face. Drawing your heels back towards your hips as much as possible. Toes are active. Inhale, lengthen your spine, take your arms out to the side. With the right knee on top, your right arm reaches up. Left palm faces to the back and then reaches down and behind. See if maybe your hands can meet between the shoulder blades. If they don't, you can grab onto your shirt or use a towel or a strap or something. And again, lengthen your spine. And if you got all contorted, trying to get into this, draw yourself back together. working your right elbow up and left elbow down. You might close your eyes and softly breathe into it. You can check in with your hips and your shoulders. See where you're doing a bunch of work trying to muscle yourself in. And instead of forcing it, allow yourself to release. The more you let go, the more your body will soften into the posture. You check back in with your breath. And release your hands. Take your arms out to the side. Uncross your legs and take your legs out straight to a Dandasana. Hands by your hips. A little activity in your toes to lengthen your spine. Recenter the body a little, and then we'll come right into the other side. So crossing the legs, left on top of right. You'll probably notice that the sides are a lot different. And so this side might work better or worse for you. Draw your heels in towards your hips. And arms out to the side. And with the left leg on top, left hand reaches up, right palm to the back. Reach around and see if the hands will connect between your shoulder blades. And if you got all contorted and your low ribs are poking out, gently draw them in. As you reconnect with your breath, softening into the posture. Do one more inhale and exhale. Release the arms. And stretch the legs out. Lengthen your spine. Now bend your knees. Slide your heels in towards your seat. Just give yourself a little wrap around the legs. And then roll back slowly onto your back, keeping the soles of your feet on the floor. And slide your heels back in towards your seat a little closer. Your feet are about hip width apart. Now with the inhale, lift your hips, pressing your knees forward as your hips raise. Come into a bridge. You can just leave your hands on the floor by your sides. Let's take this for about 3 more steady breaths. On that third exhale, lower your spine to the floor, slowly rolling it down. And we'll take one more little back bend, another bridge. So as you inhale, press your feet to the floor, lifting your hips. You may take it just like this, or interlace the hands on the floor beneath the low back. And as you can, try to soften the glutes, instead doing the work with the legs. Try to keep the knees gently working towards one another rather than splaying to the side. Release the hands, and exhale, slowly roll down onto your back. Draw your knees into your chest, wrap your arms around the shins. Take a little gentle rock from side to side. And take hands to outside of your feet. Come into a little happy baby. So I'm going to press the soles of your feet up as you draw your knees down to the outsides of your ribs. You might work with this, just drawing your sacrum down towards the floor as you press your feet up. You might play with straightening one leg and bending the other. And just giving your hips and your hamstrings a little more love. Just kind of see what your body is feeling. Let your breath slow down. And then draw your knees back into your chest. And stretch the left leg out long. Let it rest on the mat. Draw your right knee gently across your body. Right arm can come out to the side, coming into a twist. If you want to take the twist all the way up your spine, you can take your gaze over your right fingers. Let your breath soften as you melt into the twist. Right shoulder blade releasing down towards the mat. And draw your knees back into the center. Pause for a breath. And then switch sides with the right leg extending. Draw the left knee across your body. Gaze can come out over your left fingers. Maybe even close your eyes. Just allow your breath to soften. And come back to the center. Draw your knees in tight. Wrap yourself up, drawing into a tiny little ball. Draw your forehead to your knees. And all at once with the exhale, release out, expanding into Shavasana. And your legs and your arms land on the mat. Feet can be a little wider. Then hip width apart, let your toes fall out to the sides. Notice all the points along the back side of your body that are connecting onto the mat. And soften those points. Allow yourself to melt down with the mat completely supporting you. One translation of Shavasana is actually a death to work pose. So really let it be that. Surrender into a state of doing no work. Actively give yourself permission to release, softening all of your muscles, the low back and your hips. Let your palms face up, fingers loose. And shoulders melt into the mat. Relax your jaw, corners of your mouth, your eyes. Even soften the space between your eyebrows, the seat of the third eye. Allow your breath to become light and easy. As thoughts start floating into your mind, storylines, ideas, planning, judgments, whatever they might be, just acknowledge their presence and then let them go. And more float in, just acknowledge them and let them float past without attaching, without judging. Becoming aware of the stillness that exists between all of those thoughts, around them, before them, after them. But again, don't attach to the stillness because it too is fleeting.
So notice, observe, and release. Each time your mind wanders, just bring it back into the breath. Continually softening and surrendering. Come back into the breath, riding the next inhale all the way into the body, filling the lungs, feeling the abdomen and the ribs expand, and then fall away with the exhale. With the next inhale, bring a little movement to the extremities, fingers and toes, wrists and ankles. And bend your knees and make your way over onto your right side, pausing only for a moment. And then gently make it all the way back up to a seat. Let your eyes remain closed. Coming back to the posture from the beginning of class with your legs crossed. Hands on your knees or in your lap. And just reconnect with the breath and the posture. Take a moment to observe the sensations and just have the experience. Noticing perhaps a new ease in the posture, a lightness in the breath, perhaps a softness in the mind. Slide the hands right up into your heart, sealing in your practice. Bowing your head in, Om Bolo Sat Gurudev Bhagavan Ki, bowing humbly and deeply, always honoring the greatest teacher that already exists in the heart. Namaste.